Future Proof is sponsored by Concordia Dental Healthcare, expert care you can trust.
Hello and welcome to Future Proof. Thank you so much for joining me, Sarah Hopwood, as I carry on with this series 2 of Future Proof, the business television programmes, inviting people into the studio, maybe sharing some of my own knowledge, all about emotional intelligence and also other little nuggets of gold that can really help all of us think well about our future, to be future ready and so therefore feel a greater sense of confidence about our place in that future. And it's not all about certainty. Sometimes it's just around the way that we can think and perhaps be slightly smarter in some of our behaviours. Today I have Camille Pearson in the studio, and she is founder of the Float Spa, which is in Hove, I'm pretty sure, but I'm going to let her say more about who she does and who she is, and what she does, and to tell us more about her business, but also some of her thinking on the subject of stress. Camille, thank you so much for joining me.
It's an absolute pleasure to be here, so thank you very much.
And it's quite a poignant day today, isn't it?
It is. Today is World Mental Health Day, so it's the 10th of October, so it's a fantastic day to be here and share this with you.
It really is, and even just talking about it, I've actually gone a bit goosebumpy because, you know, mental health is so important for everybody, and I'm delighted that what we're going to be talking about today, I think, contributes to that debate, but I think we say right from the start, all we're doing is sharing our thinking. We're not experts on mental health at all, we're just sharing experiences and our thinking on the subject.
100% agreed.
Yeah. So, the Float Spa. First of all, what is it?
So the Float Spa is a wellbeing centre. You are correct, we are based in Hove. We're based on 3rd Avenue. So the Float Spa, I founded it in 2015. And when I say wellbeing, I say kind of wellbeing in terms of helping people overcome, mental health issues, health concerns, physical conditions. So our wellbeing centre, or the Float Spa, has 3 flotation tanks. We have a large yoga studio where we have 40 classes per week in a wide range of yoga disciplines, suitable for all ages and abilities. And we have other therapy rooms where we do things like nutrition advice, we do massage, we have chiropractic, acupuncture, and a wide range of other therapies under our space in home.
So why did you set the business up?
So it's a very personal journey into flotation. So if I just be very clear, before I opened the Float Spa, the most out there thing I'd ever done in my life was have a massage, so this is quite different to my life before. I used to work in an incredibly stressful environment with work, 60-hour weeks, very long hours, under immense amount of pressure. And in 2014 my daughter got unfortunately very ill, and we were told to prepare for the worst. My daughter is absolutely fine now, so let's be very clear, she's absolutely fine, and this isn't her story, this is my story. And when we got back from the hospital after such a long time being in hospital, I really struggled with my own mental health, and eventually, after a few months of struggling, I was diagnosed with PTSD, anxiety and depression. And I was recommended flotation by my father, and so I then, like everyone, didn't always listen, but sometimes I do listen, and so I went and had a float. I wasn't quite very familiar with it, as I said, it was quite out there for me, and I used then flotation therapy to help overcome my own challenges, as opposed to the conventional medication route, which I knew wasn't going to be for me.
And I know we're going to be saying more about the benefits of it, and also there's a general theme of people that actually come to visit you and what they suffer from. But before we do that, feathers. Talk to me about feathers.
I love feathers. If anyone knows the Float Spa, we have feathers everywhere. It's like on our branding and things like that. I've got them tattooed all over me. I love feathers purely because I think it just reflects weightlessness. So when you're incredibly stressed, it's like if you could just visualise a feather floating away and all that stress. It just is, that's why I love it so much.
Okay, so if you've watched any of the earlier programmes, then you might remember me interviewing Jenny, or she likes to call herself Gen X, and we talked about a networking event. When we met each other, and there was another lady sat at the table, and Jenny said she felt, for some odd reason, to use the word feathers, and thought that you might kind of throw a cup of water at her. And with that, you then went, I love feathers, and you showed her a tattoo on your ankle. What are your memories of that networking breakfast?
Oh, it's brilliant. There was such a massive table, so when I network, I tend to always like to sit with people I don't know. So I had met you before, so I remember us all sitting down and we were scrunched up at the end of the table in the Marina Yacht Club, which I'd never been in, and it's quite a small venue, and we were kind of snatched, like quite tightly packed in, and then we just started chatting about feathers and all this random stuff, and it was the most surreal experience. Not chit chat, obviously proper discussions, but it was just such a brilliant meeting for the three of us.
It really was, and again, if you watch that interview with Jenny, you'll know that we both just said we were all connected in a way that we couldn't even articulate exactly what was going on, but it was a very, very connected conversation. So we will be going into the break in a few minutes. Before we do that, I just want to ask you, and I know what the answer is because it's actually the theme of the programme. What is the most common reason that people come to you? And in the second half, we're going to be discussing the subject in more depth. But what is that common reason that you see with so many people, which actually identifies with your reason for setting up the business?
100%. The vast majority of the people that come to us is stress-related symptoms. I believe there's a whole plethora of issues as a result of stress, and I think it's important that we understand that stress is okay in small depths, but when it creeps on top of you and builds up, then that's when the problems can start arising.
Yes, and I think what you've just said there is really important, that stress in some ways is healthy, so we have to be ever so careful about our thoughts and our attitudes towards stress, because there are some people that have stress and absolutely thrive on it. So it depends on the breaking points, doesn't it, and the points that move it from something that is healthy to something that is damaging, or actually drawing, if you like, energy or well-being from another place because of a coping mechanism. How does the float spa, and we literally only have kind of like a minute or so, how does the float spa then have and help impact somebody who is stressful? Am I floating on salt water? What's happening in the float spa?
So a float tank, put very simply, is a very large tank filled with 10 inches of water and 530 kilograms of Epsom salts. So we've effectively changed the density of the water, so it means that you don't need to move, you're just laying as if you were laying in the Dead Sea. And then if you can imagine being in a room with no one else with you, ideally no light, if you want to have the light off, it's your choice. So you're just laying completely weightless, free from gravity to an extent, up to 90% of gravity is taken off you. So it just allows your body to focus on healing and resting, as opposed to being in contact with a mattress or something along those lines. If you can imagine going to sleep at night, you've always got the pressure points of gravity pushing down on you, but imagine being completely weightless where you're not doing anything, and it's a safe space with no light or sound, so it allows your body to become completely free.
This is wonderful stuff, and I know we're going to be saying a little bit more about it, but just as we go into the break, can you say, and we were saying this in preparation, about why we now need that stillness? You use the expression, and I hope I can find it, stimulation addicts. Can you just qualify what you mean, and then we'll pick up more in a moment?
Sure. So you do see this quite a lot, especially with the younger generation. So since the invention of smartphones and technology, which means we're constantly connected, as human beings, we do like to be, learn new things constantly. And as a direct result, we are becoming obsessed with what's the latest update on social media, what's the latest news story, what's happening with this, and we're just becoming obsessed with checking things.
And as you said, and we're going to pick it up later, it is affecting our sleep patterns too, so we're not resting properly, hence the fact we can rest with you. So stay with us and speak to you in a minute. EQ, emotional quotient, is better known as emotional intelligence. It is a tangible tool that can sit alongside your services or your product, and it can be taught. Leaders with high EQ have less stress, they're more effective, and they earn more money. There's a great saying, just because we have pains, it does not give us permission to be a pain. I believe that teaching emotional intelligence has a direct impact on your sense of success and your net profits. EQ will empower you and your workforce to drive the change that you want. Change brings transition. EQ can help unpack what's holding you back and speed up that period of transition.